podcast you cheer for. Sneaker business talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast.
And welcome to the podcast you cheer for, Sneaker Business Talk, right here. I'm your man, the OGEO.
All right, it's T Mark, the Street Shark.
And we're here to talk about everything PUMA and what a job they have done the past few years. And we're going to, as Shark will say, just peel back those layers. And man, I'm so excited and so impressed with what they have done with their designs, with their newer models, and still spicing up some of the old models. A lot of their collaborations, they have done things really the way it should be done. And Shark, go ahead and kick us off with some things you've been impressed with the brand recently, or not been impressed with as well, things that can improve on. The thing today, we talk about nothing, everything PUMA.
Yeah, PUMA, fast forever. So, you know, with this brand, I love the resurgence with this nostalgic, know your history. Like there's a thread between everything they do that lets people know we're not new to this. You just don't know us for what's going on today. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, look what we was doing. There's the PUMA Clydes are called Clyde for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So I love it, just even with their PUMA hoops and how they bridge the gap. And I think they're doing a wonderful job with storytelling. And then also they're the king collabs right now. They've been that for quite a while. Like they're not afraid to spend no money on to spend whatever on these licenses. Like every movie that's coming out, there's a PUMA collection somewhere. And there's so many different collaborations, and then they have different categories for their collaborations. Whether it's with the artist or whether it's with a licensed brand. Like they had a Tony the Tiger Kellogg's collection. You know what I'm saying? Like when why? You know what I'm saying? But there's plenty of things in between that says that, yeah, that makes sense. There was already Kellogg's cereal stuff going out and, Crocs and all this other stuff. So, whatever. So they're doing a lot. And then, so they're doing the most with their models, because I think that's what's slick is that it's not like they're making a lot of new models for these shoes. They're just strategically putting certain shoes in collections and then changing the materials and the colorways, and then it's like it kind of makes it more cool though. You know what I mean? Like that PUMA RSX running shoe, and then the versions of it. You know what I mean? Like how many different ways can you spin that shoe and get away with it? And because it's like the same shoe can go on sale and be cheap, and then the same shoe could be whatever the collaboration is. That could be like a $300, $400, $500 resale value. It is the same model. They're just changing the materials and stuff like that. So I really like that, and I'm guilty of because I like what I like. So do I have like every RSX Masters of the Universe Netflix? Yes, I do. But I also have the Foot Locker exclusive Alexander John Master of the Universe Netflix, package that was only at Foot Locker. You know what I mean? And that was like a PUMA Clyde, where they redid that and then work with another, a real artist. Speaking of Alexander John, I had the mixtape, the PUMA RS again, but the mixtape, and then we had the A side, the B side, and looked like the MTV raps and everything like that. And that was a collaboration with Emory Jones, because he's been overseeing a lot of creative stuff on the PUMA side and just maintaining that heritage. I know that they have more to that collection coming later in 2023. There's actually more versions of the newer RSX running shoe that they're going to unveil, because I think and with the same line, there's like there's a cassette player. There's a version, I think it's 3. There's a cassette player version. There's a Walkman version that's vicious, like I don't know what, with the yellow and the transparent yellow. And then there's an iPod one where it's just a little more plain Jane because it really didn't have that much on the iPod. So just those mediums and telling those stories. Oh, I know it was not cassette player. It's like a vinyl version of like record player type thing. So again, great storytelling with what they have going on, and you know. And then, like I said, Puma Hoops has its own resurgence. They're doing great with the they're doing great with the NIL deals that we were talking about, and that's where you're getting them early. But you're picking the right kids because they translate to the lifestyle. So it makes sense that they're in their Puma tracksuits and you know and where they need to be. You know what I mean? Like they was the first ones to get Mikey. You know, like a while ago. They've been on them. You know what I mean? And some of these, even the women with the Flage, LSU. You know what I'm saying? She got the Puma deal. You know what I mean? So she's getting all the reach for being a rapper. You know, you're you know, national champion now, and you're young. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna ride this out all the way. Like you don't need to go. Like Angel Reese said, like y'all making more money than some of these, you know, WNBA players. So you're gonna stick around. But yeah, with Puma, you know, and then again, you gave opportunities. You know, J. Cole had his own shoe for a little bit. You know what I mean? With the artist, with the Dreamer. You got the collaborations with the Marathon continued with Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. You know, and then here comes the Lauren London collection that's separate as well. You know, you've got some high-end designers mixed in with the Rude brand. I love those collaborations. And you know, they're not afraid. They got the ball main. You know, like I'm sorry, but nobody's paying, you know, $900 for that basketball shoe or whatever, but it looked you know, it looked like the Jordan 20 to me with the big strap, and then the way it straps around the heel or the ankle on, you know what I'm saying? So it's almost like two straps. But you know, I like what they're doing. You know, you got Kyle Kuzma, shout out to Washington Wizards. You know what I'm saying? And you know, his significant other for now, Winnie Harlow, as a model anyway. They're all up in everything. You know, so we didn't even talk about your boy. LaMelo, you know what I'm saying? So I'll kick it back to you because we've had some evolution with his from 1 to 2 on his shoe, but he just couldn't stay on the court this year, so that kind of messed up the vibes a little bit.
And definitely, and given his talent, Sharp, I think the 3 would be a rebound, not only in the shoe market, but with him coming back. I just have a feeling that his resiliency with Charlotte now getting that number 2 pick, unfortunately, get the first pick. I really think they're going to have a campaign really strong for him, not necessarily a comeback per se, but more of getting on that same wave that he was on with the MB1. And it seems like at some point in time, no matter what colorway, it was just flying, all purples, the Morgan Mindy's and so forth. And I can tell you
that every color was flu.
Yes. And I can tell you that there are some die hard, I'm talking about purist Nike heads that dipped into the Puma line. I don't know if it was because of hype or because of the boredom just having on Nike, but I know a couple of guys that all of a sudden after the LaMelo Ball had a couple of Pumas in between their Nike boxes, definitely. But I would tell you, the pandemic and us doing what we do as far as lurking, and the Shark is the king lurker. There were a couple models during the pandemic time that blew me away, given who we are and when we grew up and so forth. And I'm going to tell you, although it fizzled out, one of my favorites is definitely the J. Cole Dreamer, particularly the Mario Galaxy with the glow in the dark soul. As you're well aware, the resale of that was crazy at one point. Trying to find those was crazy at one point. Yeah. And again, art acquisition, just being in DC at Iverson Mall, RIP Iverson Mall at that foot action. They just had them there on display. And I'm like, no one is picking these up. No one's seen these. And look at me like, what are you talking about? Like, do you see the box? He's like, oh yeah, the box got a video game on it. I was like, give me 2 pair. and
I
walked
know
out.
because I missed my size, but I know I went to the same store, and I was sitting there like, y'all just, you know, and that's what I talked about in other episodes where like people don't know what they are. The people that work there, you half of them don't know. You know what I mean? So it's just sitting in the corner at the bottom. You know what I mean? And I was like, wait, what? Oh, you ain't got no sizes, but I'll just wipe this out because I'm about to just flip these jokes. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Easy, easy. And during the pandemic as well, the shoe that really caught me off guard, that I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have these, was the Puma Rider when they did the 8-bit Nintendo. Everything from the details from even little block on the side, with the colorway. Again, you talk about the details and the extras and having the keychain with the Nintendo on it and so forth. That looked like a shoe Nintendo would have done overseas with the actual original console if it came in a package. And I just love the way they did that. Again, you talked about
I got those, so don't. I'm just adding on. The box is vicious too.
the box is the box is seller to me. The box is seller. Forget the shoe.
The box is vicious.
And again, you talk about them bridging the gap and not being afraid. We talked about the Mellow Ball, J. Cole, but even the collection they're doing as far as with the apparel and the shoes with a Diaper Dan. Like you said, Sharp, we've been here before. We've been doing this. Let's show you. And not being afraid to do that for not only just the old heads, but to bring the new heads in to say, yeah, this is what we're about. And him being able, with his creativity, once you see his line, it looks like something he would do. And I love the fact that no matter if it's with Gap or with Gucci or with Louis Vuitton or with the Puma or whoever, he's always him. And I love the fact that he was allowed to be him with Puma. I wouldn't pay $600 for a whole set. I'll wait for it to go on sale. But for what it is, the historical value, what he has done for the culture, particularly hip hop and so forth, you talking about a man that really bridged the gap, and him being honored the way he's being honored, as opposed to being an old school cat in his apartment talking about the good old days and what he could have gotten. I really admire Puma for that. And another release as far as art acquisition that I know you would appreciate. This was RIP soon to Shoe City, but the very first Clyde pigeon colorway they had that came with the pink laces, all gray ones, materials out of sight. It's 1999. And I'm sitting there like, no one's picking these up with all of the pigeon hype with, you know, the dunks and everything else. Okay, fine. So between those and a lot of colorways with the Pumas, because I usually would rock my different colorway Pumas with my soccer jerseys, the colorways and the materials and what they have done with the Clyde. As you mentioned before, when they do something, they pay for the licensing and they don't miss. You know, not that I like the Kellogg's thing they did at all, but from a design standpoint, material standpoint, colorway standpoint, they are official all the way down to the tongue. You know what I mean? So you can't do nothing but respect that. And then the performance of the shoes, again, you mentioned that RXX, man. I have 6 pair of those, and depending on the material that you get, and the shoe is comfortable to me because it's a wide shoe and I have a wide foot. But the all leather ones fit a little bit different than some with other materials, and that's what makes it dope to me. So you keep saying how many ways can they redo a shoe? Once you have a dope concept and a dope design like that, they're proven you can do 200-300 colorways and 200 different materials, and whatever works, and whatever gets hot. And
they're doing the smart thing. Like, they don't have to make a takedown model. It looks like they're doing takedown colorways. So if they have a higher dollar model that's a collaboration, they'll do their own in a similar color, but it's not the collaboration. And then that's the one that goes on sale. So if you never got that shoe, like a lot of consolation prizes, like, and I'm talking about the mixtape in particular because they had the rainbow colors. I'm just like, there were a lot of consolation prizes purchased with, because people didn't get the original ones. But, you know, you mentioned Dapper Dan, you know, that's great to bridge the gap with the generations, you know, and I'd be remiss if it didn't mention June Ambrose. You know, we got the designer of all hip hop designers behind the scenes, like totally driving the women's side, you know what I'm saying? And and if anybody follows her on Instagram or social media, or whatever, you know that her daughter is, has always followed her around since they was kids or whatever. I think her name's Summer, but she's grown up. She's in college now, and guess what? They just did. She's at Morgan State, all right, in Maryland, all right. So they just did a whole photo shoot campaign using her daughter and Morgan State students or whatever on campus or whatever, and it looks flies, I don't know what, and it's just like, look how they're penetrating into the culture, and then just keep keeping the cycle of the creativity, the being able to be you, you know what I mean, and then at the same time, like, it's still not crazy priced, you know what I mean? And if you want to wait around a little bit, then like we've told you, the Rosses, the Marshalls, the Burlingtons, they're back on the come up, you know what I mean? I might have just given you a tip because some of the catalog stuff is in Burlington right now, so you can go back and get it. Just be patient. But again, it's just like, get in, get out, and get gone. You know what I mean? People like what they like. Here's another thing I want to mention. They're great at connecting with the youth. I think that's the niche for LaMelo Ball. He has a chokehold on the kids. You know what I mean? The only other player that I can say that that's the top of the food chain for kids, to me, is Steph Curry and Curry Brand. That's just how I'm seeing it, in the influence of how these kids react and want to buy. I'll put it to you like this. I was watching the video of like Drake and then his son, and Drake is a Nike person. You know what I mean? Like, you are under the umbrella. You got your own shoes, you got your brand collaborations with the Nocta, you got multiple collections that just keep popping out. Okay. But in an interview, you literally talked about how your son, Aiden, or whatever his name is, Aiden Adonis, whatever, he loves LaMelo Ball. And he loves Puma. So it's like, in the video, he was like giving him a pair of Pumas or whatever, and giving him some LaMelo Balls, and he was like falling out on the floor, like, yeah, and then lace him up. He got his full Nike suit on, on the basketball court with a Kobe jersey, a LeBron jersey, with LaMelos on his feet, you know what I mean? And I actually like that move from Drake as a dad, you know what I'm saying? Just because it's just like, it's about the kid, man, you know what I mean? It ain't about anything else. So if that's what he like, and yeah, he like it because he like LaMelo too, you know what I mean? So it all goes hand in hand. And I think that, like, that's the stuff that other brands want to copy and paste, you know what I'm saying? Or you might be too big for your britches right now, you know what I mean? Where you think you don't have to do that, you know what I mean? But someone like Adidas, if you want to get more into hoops or whatever, then you might want to start doing that, or finding a way to bridge someone like Anthony Edwards, who's getting a signature shoe, get him to get more involved with the kids. But you don't have nobody that's a direct connect to the kids, and I think that Puma's doing that very well, and it ain't going nowhere either. Like, you don't need, look what they're doing without a full roster of just signature people.
There you
go. You got one, you know what I mean? You got one for like different sports, you know what I'm saying? But that's it. You don't need it. Like, they're showing that they don't need it. So, that means that they have strength in their brand equity. And they can just law averages, just keep pumping them out. And then they're, every now and then they dip back into the old catalog. That's what I like. That's a sign of who's in charge.
There you
go.
You
know what I mean? Because they've let, like I said, June Ambrose in. They've let Emory Jones in, and they're traveling to Germany. They're going to talk to the real people, and then saying, no, this is what the culture really is. And then some of those people are saying, that's what it is. I'm gonna get out the way. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I love how they brought back, the disc, in multiple different ways, because they were already trying to do some of that with the laceless, with the, with the crank on them, with the running shoes, 10, 15 years ago, and that just didn't catch. But they brought back the disc a little bit more. They got a newer model with the strap, and the old model, like the Cedric Ceballos model, you know what I mean? Like, again, I waited and got it on sale for about like $40, $45, but there's no way I was not going to walk away with that shoe. But it's like bulky and everything like that, and it doesn't even matter. It's not meant for you to play in it right now. It's all the nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? And some of the other collaborations with the hip hop where they did the collaborations with Def Jam and Public Enemy. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like nobody's doing that. You know what I mean? So it's true lifestyle brand, and it translates all the way through. And good job at these collections. Yeah, give me some Puma Helly Hansen, stuff on sale. I'll take it all day. So yeah, again, we just give you that clarity over popularity here. It's not about what's popular. We're just going back in, telling you what we like. And so many different things going on. Maybe I hope that you picked up on something that you may not have known about in this episode about what's going on over at Puma. But there's so much more. Puma Alien, some of those retro shoes from back in the day, or have resurfaced, and just really like the direction, and because they've been doing, it's like an escalator. They've been doing more collaborations, not less. On the other side of the pandemic, you know what I mean? So that should tell you something, right there. And they're not afraid to. They don't even have like these crazy sales on their sites and all, like other brands do. So, and they don't not everything gets marked down quickly at Foot Lockers and Champs. To be honest with you, that's some staying power as well, to be able to hold and stand your ground. That is on your markdown cycle versus other brands that is sitting on the shelves as well. So, yeah, Puma. What's going on? Past, present, and future. I think that they have a bright future. So and the last thing I'll say is what's good about them is that they are covering the full spectrum of their consumers. They're not just talking to one person.
There you go.
They're actually talking to your whole family.
There you go.
Okay, because they're doing stuff that every person in the household can. Like every person in the household can go into a Puma outlet store or go online and say, hey, it's we're gonna do something fun or family out there, and then everyone can get their fits on or whatever. Like, and it's something for everybody, and it makes sense. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably a good way to wrap up. But just honing in on how smart that really is. I don't even know if it's an official strategy or not, but the optics are in Puma's favor, that they look like they're in tune and they care, and I'm going to equate that to them having more people that look like us and understand this culture on the inside.
Say that.
This looks inside out to me,
definitely
in a good way. So adopt that lens and look at your other favorite brands to our audience, and then come back to us and tell me what you see. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
What you got? Let's wrap it up. Final words from the OG EOH.
Shark, I would just say the consistency has brought on familiarity, and from their apparel to their shoes, I've always kept my eye open the past 4 or 5 years. And like you just said, there's obviously some right people in place who are not just talkers, but they're listeners as well, because they have their pulse on the culture. And I don't think it's by accident at all, and give them a lot of credit. And if I have to choose a brand that I'm most excited about or enthused about, it's Puma, definitely. So I'm looking forward to whatever collaboration, whether it's food related, toy related, entertainment related, with my favorite model with that RSX. And oh my gosh, even like you said, even takedown models, you put them on and I'm out the store. And I have a rack of Pumas I never thought I would have that I have now. And that's just a credit to them and what they got going on, and keep on pumping. And I don't see why other brands we have discussed in previous episodes, Reebok, for example, Adidas, for example, the issues they have. Look at Puma's blueprint. Literally, just look at Puma's blueprint.
Yep. So, but yeah, again, personnel, coaches coach, players play. You know what I mean? So you still gonna have to have that balance, and be willing to, let the people tell you what they want, because this is out there. But Puma, they really are, again, I think that we would be due for a good collaboration with Puma, just because our brands are so aligned with that nostalgia. But it's looking towards the future, but we know where we came from.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So, all right, for another episode in the books for Puma, past, present, and future, just talking about where they came from, what it means to us, how strong that brand equity is, and really like what they have going on, especially collaborations. And you never know, you might see the podcast you cheer for teaming up with the Puma gang. All right, so for another episode in the books of that sneaker business talk from the Soul Material Podcast, it's T Mart the Street Shark
And OGO. Peace to you.
All right, signing off.